There is no Sprint Zero or planning sprint, or at least there isn't supposed to be one, and today I will try and explain to you why. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, especially warm welcome to you. I'm Dimitri, I'm a Lean Agile Enterprise Transformation Coach from Sydney, Australia. I talk to you here once a week about all matters Lean and Agile, answering common questions and explaining why some points of popular confusion exist. So I'm using simple terms to break those myths. If this is your cup of tea and you are looking to step into an Agile role perhaps, or simply appear more professional in your current one, it might be a good time to subscribe. Sprint Zero, or planning sprint, or design sprint, very popular manifestations of poorly explained and implemented Agile concepts and Scrum framework specifically. If you're sitting right now there rolling your eyes saying, Dimitri, it's 2018, why are we even talking about these basics again? I'll send you out there into the wild west of LinkedIn, semi-educated, pseudo-agile articles posted by people who try to very hard impress others and produce an appearance of Agile experts, and point out that these derivatives of Sprint Zero are still very much alive and appearing left and right, visible to anyone professionally tuned into the topic. I keep talking to people who were formerly part of Agile transformation for 12 plus months and who still think they need a planning sprint before they kick off a new Agile project. I keep seeing articles and videos on what to do during Sprint Zero, guides. So before I keep slamming this lack of professional education and one of the most easy to spot indicators that a person with Agile job title isn't fully understanding Scrum, let me tell you that I also live in a real world, and as I keep mentioning different things, I would like to give you a disclaimer that I get it. It's not a perfect world. Scrum cannot always be pristinely implemented, but it's hardly an excuse. And for goodness sake, please remind yourselves that people you're talking to, need to be educated in the basics and fundamentals of Agile and Scrum first. This is why I, for example, focus on delivering fundamentals training for the real people that teaches them solid foundation before they try and explore some Agile scaling heights or something else. You need to get the basics straight. So Scrum is about iterative delivery of customer value. From the day when your delivery cycle kicked off, from the first day, nobody says that your first sprint is going to produce 100% ready and shippable value to the end user. But if you plan to spend it analyzing, doing documentation, requirements gathering, creation of wireframes, detailing design for some potentially valuable user stories down the track, then you're missing the point. As a Scrum Master, for example, you don't even declare the team as Scrum ready. Did you know that there is such thing at all? I wouldn't blame you if you don't, as we don't see it happen very often in real life because we don't say no enough to our management that pushes us. This results in unbaked Agile projects where people blame Agile methodology and Scrum specifically as not working. So if your product backlog is not in the shape to even fill out a couple of sprints with meaningful tasks and user stories that are small, valuable, and testable, then you should keep working on it, on the backlog, and get it into shape, which will let you be a little bit ahead of the curve and have enough food for your developers, feed something into those development teams before you formally kick off cadence of sprints. In other words, every sprint counts towards delivery of a valuable product by preparing a potentially shippable increment of some value. There is no specific preparation sprint. It's just not a sprint at all. It shouldn't be considered one. It's a project inception, forming of the team, allocation of resources and all of that, which shouldn't take that long time if you keep remembering that actual planning of user story detailed design are intended to be included in the end-to-end effort that you will be estimating together with the team as you plan your sprint. Nobody says to you that the user story has to be complete requirements document that has all answers to the developer, so that they basically have no questions to the product owner when they start working on a story. Of course, we want to get to a point where product owner and assisting business analyst, the team, are on the roll and ahead of the curve enough to be able to have that slightly more tangible picture for the developers to be presented at the planning discussed, you know, and reduce the amount of unnecessary loops and questions and going back and forth. But we need to remember that a user story was always intended to be a conversation starter between the product owner and developer, who would then deliver the story. We express end user value in the wording of the user story, making it clear what is it there to achieve and what would be the primary measure of value and success once that story is delivered. We list acceptance criteria that triangulate almost that pass mark, if you like, for the developer, who will then work out on how to deliver the functionality story, asking questions if necessary. I think we became lazy as developers. Especially in the modern IT organizations, we expect user stories to be mini requirements documents, all encompassing. Don't ask me any further questions, that's it. That's where less educated project managers usually expect all those user stories to be fleshed out as part of that nebulous and completely waterfall concept of sprint zero, missing the point that the truth reveals itself as part of the working on that particular story, and unveiling that truth and detailing the story to the necessary extent should be seen as part of the end-to-end delivery and the effort estimation. So as a true aspiring agilist, please understand this and articulate this whenever possible, as this contributes to building a better culture where business is expected to work with the delivery units, usually IT, but doesn't have to only be IT. Silently accepting demands for sprint zero or planning sprints is basically accepting the old status quo of sequential delivery or waterfall, with certain stages of project delivery being done before others, often done by separate silos of people that want to be agile and call themselves agile but are stuck in their old way of working, where you, poor wallflower, might not be stepping up and telling them that that's wrong, that is not what they should be doing. Be prepared and patient enough to explain the wrongs though, as just sulking there about people not getting it while doing nothing to teach them and lead people to agility, starting with yourself, is just as bad as doing nothing. Think about it. This was my main message to you, my friends. I hope I brought it across loud and clear, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, definitely subscribe and come back next week for more. In the meantime, please have an enjoyable week, and I will talk to you next time.